Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios, it's time for Women in Motion. Brought to you by WBEC West. Join forces, succeed together. Now, here's your host.
Lee Kantor here with Dr. Pamela Williamson. We are here on Women in Motion, another episode talking about women business leaders leading with their male partners. Pamela, this is going to be a great episode. Who do we have today?
Lee, yes, I think today's going to be fantastic. We have two amazing women-owned businesses that have partnerships with their spouses. So this should be interesting. We should get lots of tidbits. Today we have Karen Cruz, who is the president of PH Plasticos Hoyos, Inc. And I knew I was going to mess that up, even though I have practiced. And full disclosure, I might mess up part of the other person too, just to let you know. Our second guest is Rebecca Heredia, Chief Operating Officer and majority owner of Baja Ready Mix. And so I'd like to kick off with you, Rebecca. I had an opportunity beforehand to read your journey, and I would love for you to share that with our audience today.
Thank you, Pamela, and thank you for having me here with you guys. So like you said, my name is Rebecca. My story, my journey I believe is kind of unique. The company didn't start with me. It started with my husband. We were dating in 2011. He started the company, we were dating, and we were in separate journeys. I got accepted as a bilingual nursing assistant in the program, so I was going through that program. And then he started his business in ready mix industry. So as the years progressed, I dropped out from the program. We decided to have a family together. And then he asked me to help him out at the company. He was just one person, and then he had a couple of employees. It was just too much for him to handle at that time. So I kind of jumped in to help him out in the company. And in 2015, to help him out. And I started as an administrative assistant. I organized all the paperwork. I sent invoices. I started really small, and then I built up from there. I started doing contracts, getting leads, kind of branching out the company more. And then as we were progressing and as the company was growing, we saw an opportunity to kind of have the company grow more as a majority owner, as me being a majority owner of the company. And the idea came up with our banker. He kind of introduced us with different programs that there were. And then, I kind of decided to kind of pitch that into my husband, and he liked the idea. We kind of talked about it. We kind of talked about the boundaries and the tasks and that each one will have. And then we just decided to grow the company that way. And it has been successful. We have grown the company so much. We have over, I believe, 15 employees right now. We have drivers, we have office staff, and it's been a journey. So it's been a pleasure working with my husband, and also it's been a challenging working with my husband. So it's been awesome.
Karen, can you share how your business got started?
Hi. Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have this moment and this platform where our story started a little different. We've been together, married for 13 years. We've always been good friends and good partners. We'll listen to each other, but it's something that it grew with a little bit of time. We were together for about 4 years, and God blessed us to be parents, and our journey was very, very difficult. So I ended up being hospitalized for a month prior to my baby be born, and she decided to be born at 33 weeks. at 33 weeks, we were experiencing difficulties in the process of feeding her. She was born way too young and so many different issues. So my husband, his name is Claudio Hoyos. He comes from a background where his grandfather was the first founder of toy maker in Peru. I'm from Honduras, he's from Peru. So I was using a pitcher to make a fortification of milk, and in the process of trying to power pumping every 2 hours and being exhausted, I broke the pitcher so many different times. And then one night, out of frustration, crying because I'm dropping my milk and I'm competing with the milk that I have. I told him, why don't you invent something, something that I can be portable, something that I can grab with me, take it with me and stop breaking it. You should invent something, because he was already working in other projects, but he wasn't doing that. So I have a background of transportation and logistics for about 20 plus years. So I was the first Hispanic working in a predominant male industry. So I learned a lot, and I learned how to have a better communication on the leading aspect. My husband is an engineer for the city of LA. So there's like different things that we don't match in many things business wise. So it took us 2 years. So from 2015 that my preemie was born until 2017 that he was developing until he finally came up with the product. We were dealing with so many different obstacles. Nobody wanted to work with the small business. We wanted a product that it was high quality, something that it was going to be made out of silicone, that is organic, that is biodegradable. So we work with with a few companies that we have within California, and no one wanted to take us. So finally, somebody worked with us, and we developed the product. So 2018, we started, at the end of 2018, we started selling and creating platforms. So we work together. So I do the social media, he does the finances, but it's not something that I started. We both started. It was an idea that came from me, and we try to work as frenemies because we argue, we battle a lot in between a lot of things. But at the end of the road, I can tell you that a lot of the successes that we have is because we try to have a good team in between each other. We do fight. We try to put faith on our end to make things work. Not only because I was homeschooling in the middle of pandemic, I have a 21-year-old from my prior relationship, and then I have an 8-year-old that was preemie, and then God blessed me again with another preemie at 33 weeks. So I kept using my product, and recently we just developed another product, and this is going to be not on the food industry to pour liquids. It's going to still be to pour liquids, but in the paint industry. So we're trying to get into the home appliances. So that's where we're at.
Now, how did you, maybe we'll start with you, Karen, and just continue. How did you decide to divide up the responsibilities? Like, did that just happen organically? Like you kind of each gravitated to what you're good at, or was it a formal discussion of, hey, we need you to do this and I'll do this? How did that kind of division of labor occur?
Well, in our case, it happened kind of like organically. I know my flaws and I see his potentials. He does all my financials. Like I said, math is his thing. So we work around ideas. He is the dreamer, and I'm more the realistic. I'm the one that puts the ground into everything. He's emotional. I am drastic on many things. So we both kind of like play a role in that way. So it kind of like went organically for us. And there's certain areas that I still try to put my feet down and my ego down so I can let him shine and try to like guide him so he can have his space. So I'm still working on that in my case.
Rebecca?
Okay. Oh, in my case, it didn't come organically. So there was a lot of talks and a lot of maybe disagreements. I respect my husband so much. He started the company in a time where I guess the recession here in 2008. He lost his job. He got laid off, and then he started looking for a job, and that's how he got into the industry. He started driving a ready-mix concrete, and he did that because he had his dad who was very ill, so he was pretty much supporting him and supporting his little brothers, and that made me admire him so much. But when it came to delegating tasks, this is a male-dominated industry. We kind of talked about our expectations of each one. We delegated, and since we started, we have two different personalities. I'm more reserved. He's more outgoing. He likes going to gatherings. I'm more like, okay, 1 to 2 person. I'm okay with that. So our tasks were based on our personalities and based on what our qualities were. And a lot of the things that I wanted to do, it was networking as well. But I understood that maybe because I'm a stay-at-home mom too and working from home, it was difficult for me to do that. I'm able to do that right now because I have helped. But before I had to have my husband do that. And then when it came to different tasks, we just had to kind of come down. And we actually wrote down in a piece of paper, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what he wanted to do. And then how can we meet together to kind of have a harmonious relationship at work and also at the personal level. And we just took some time to kind of come up with those ideas.
Rebecca, can you share maybe a story or an example of how you resolve conflict when there is kind of a disagreement amongst yourselves, like you and your partner?
Yeah, actually, recently we just had a not a big disagreement, but a disagreement where about the prices of our product. We're having a lot of difficulties, a lot of obstacles when it comes to pricing our product. We have pressure from our suppliers. We have pressure from the market. He wants to kind of price the product based on the market, and I want to price the product based on how much our suppliers are giving us the product. And so we kind of had to come down and kind of see how much it was costing us versus how much we can afford to sell the product and still make some money, because we do have employees, we do have our families that we need to make sure that they're taken care of. And we were having a little bit of friction on that part, because it is tough market right now. There's a lot of competition. There's the inflation, the economy, and we deliver concrete. So the construction area is really taking a hit right now with the recession. And our suppliers are increasing our material. This year alone, we had an increase 2 times already. And it's been really tough delegating those, the pricing and the market. And we both have different opinions on it. So he came up with an idea, I came up with another idea. And then what I like about my husband is that if he sees that I'm not okay with that answer, he will actually take his time to sit down with me and talk, and he will take how many hours he needs to take to kind of resolve the issue with me. We both have a different way of, delegating and resolving issues. He kind of takes an approach of, okay, let's talk it out. And I kind of shut down a little bit when it comes to like, if I don't get my way. And I'm becoming more aware of that. And I meet him halfway. So we both kind of came down and we had to kind of see where we were at with the product and the prices, and we come up with an amount that we were both okay with. But it took us a couple of hours to figure that out, and we both were happy about it. And that's what, how we resolve conflict is that we just take how many hours we need to take to resolve that issue. And my husband he's really pleasing. He likes to please me. And I don't want to take advantage of that. So I try to also meet him halfway. And he sees what is going out there. He's in the field. And I'm here at the office, and we're both doing our due diligence. But he has a perspective that I might not have on the business, and his opinion does weigh a lot. So when it comes down to it, I like to kind of lean towards his opinion.
And it seems like that good communication and trust and respect really is important in your relationship as well as in the business, that those go hand in hand.
Definitely.
Karen, can you share how you handle conflict?
Yeah, well, my case is a little different. My personality is a lot stronger than my husband's. So I'm kind of like teaching my husband how to be stronger than me in that way, because he is my financial support. So everything started with him, with his paycheck, through my idea, pretty much. So I've been blessed in that way. I have 100% supportive husband. He's humble. He has so many amazing qualities. He's a great provider. We lack in other aspects because at the moment we're so focused into trying to make this baby grow that we lose track of who we really are on the outside. And I think this happens to many other couples, when they work. But I don't know, when we actually are dealing with something, we talk about it, and we're pretty understandable of the things that, we're pretty understandable of the things that we're doing. He might give me his opinion. I listen to what it is, and I trust him. I give him my advice, and even if he is going to fail, I'm going to let him fail, and I'm going to trust him. And at the end, I'm going to pick up the pieces and say, hey, I allow you to do this, but I knew that this was going to happen. But in order for you to understand my point of view on the next future thing that we're going to do, then this is what's going to happen. So from now on, let's listen and be more realistic on the thought than dreamer. So like I said, I'm more realistic on this whole project. That's kind of like how we do it. There's no right or wrong. I'm the one that gets wild on the conversations. I'm the one that gets loud, and I'm the one that wants to make my point clear. And I step back. I'm like, I need a moment. I need you to give me my space right now and let me think this through. But at the end, be realistic. I leave you with my thought, and hopefully you make the right decision. Otherwise, there's another fall on this. So it's kind of like how we do it.
Now, Karen, can you share a little bit about how maybe being in business with your spouse is a superpower, or is advantageous compared to not being in business with your spouse? Do you see any advantages of partnering with your spouse?
Well, in my case, I don't know any other way, because we started as couples, as a family. So we always say, this is a women-owned business because we recently got certified to get the notification. At the beginning, because I work in the logistic and transportation field, I thought all businesses run or are predominantly dominated by men. So I was intimidated even to talk and have another man look at me like I am not in that level, because we've been in other meetings with other male and they've actually directed the conversation towards him. And then I allowed them to continue, and I was like kind of like on the shadow until finish the meeting, and then we talked back. Hey, I didn't feel all right how he actually led the conversation, and my husband is clueless. He doesn't understand all the emotions and the thing. I absorb everything because I've dealt with that. So he's on the back of managing other things, and I've been like all over. It's a privilege for me, in my case, in my situation. I've been blessed that we have this opportunity to work together and try to understand each other and what we're trying to do, and focus on the purpose of what we're doing. So just recently, it was something that we weren't supposed to do, but it's something that we talk about. We bought an equipment and I became licensed to have a manufacturer. So I'm in the process of doing a project on the back of my lot. And I bought an equipment to manufacture silicone or plastic on the back and give another small businesses, not just women, but there's a lot of women business on the beauty industry, needing help to develop their products. So I wanted to have that opportunity. So I brought it up, and then he supported. He said, okay, let's do it. I don't know where we're going to pull it from, but we're going to do it. And then at the end, we're struggling with the materials going up and down, and then the construction. So it is a privilege for myself to be working with the gentleman, not with just any man. He gives me my space. He supports me, and I think he sees me as high as I see himself, and we still got potential to continue growing. In my case,
that was beautiful, Rebecca.
Karen, I kind of want to elaborate a little bit about what she was saying about how when she was going to meetings and they were directing all the conversations to her husband. I do want to, it also happened to me. And that's the reason why I kind of presented the idea to my husband to be, have me as a majority owner of the company, even though I was owner already of the company. It was because we were going to these meetings and we were doing all these projects and contracts, and I was doing all the work. I was doing all the delegations and the paperwork, the contracts, and he was pretty much the face of it at that point. And when we were going to meetings, they were pretty much directing all the conversations to him. And they're like, oh, we just need your signature. We don't need your signature. Oh, it just this and that. And then so I was kind of put it back in the sidelines. And it did bother me a little bit, but I kind of understood that he is a very alpha male, and he kind of comes out as alpha male, which I like. But I also, like I told my husband, I put the effort, and I'm not just a stay-at-home mom, and I'm not just like, oh, my name is just there for just looking pretty. I actually do my work, and I do a lot for the company. So it was, for me, it was more about a validation than anything. It validated my effort and my sacrifice, because I can easily just be taking care of my kids, which I want to at this point, take care of my kids and spend time with them and be emotionally present for them. And when all this was happening, it was like a slap in the face. I'm like, okay, so why am I doing all this work? I can just be at home and taking care of my kids and just receiving all the benefits of my husband working. To me was a slap in the face. So that's when I kind of presented that to my husband, like, hey, let's do this. I need this to feel validated. I feel validated by him, but when it comes to going to meetings, I'm like, this is not happening. And then, like I said, my personality is very reserved. I like to talk. I like to do things in a private manner. And I always like that about myself. But I do feel like throughout the years, my personality has come out more, and I'm more. I'm taking the lead in meetings, and he's taking the sidelines of the meetings. He feels very confident on himself that he lets me do that, and I feel confident in myself that I have a partner who is not gonna belittle me, or he's not gonna say the opposite of what I'm saying. So I feel very blessed, and I had to do a lot of prayers too as well.
Well, I mean, are things changing? Are you seeing a change where they're more accepting of women in leadership positions in your industry, or is that something that's still present?
It is. It is changing, definitely. At the beginning, it wasn't at all. I think it's because of the economy and how things are unfolding in the world. I do tend to see more of feminism than anything else. I'm a Christian, and I believe that the husband is the head and of the wife of the household, and I feel like a woman can still be owner and the majority of the business, but still kind of follow under that guidelines. And it comes with a lot of practice and a lot of conversations and just having things talked about and being your motives, being transparent, and knowing why you're doing things and for what reason, and having that really clear. But I do see a change in the industry where everything comes through me instead of my husband. People talk to me and be like, hey, is Rebecca there? And I need help with this, blah, blah. And before it wasn't like that. So there is some change, but I do feel that there needs to be more in the aspect of like we are respected, and not just because we have a title, but because we are wise and intelligent.
Now, go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, I want to bring up this. It is, I think the time for women to be heard, it is now. So I remember in those meetings, being behind and not having the validation, with my husband. I remember this conversation, sitting down with him, and I asked him, I know that I no longer work because we chose for me to stay home, leave my career on the side, and take care of my kids. This was a privilege that I have now because before I was a single mom. So I had to work 2 jobs, Monday through Friday, managing fashion marketing on one side. And then I had, since I was young and I thought I could manage the whole world, I had a second job as a supervisor, as a competitive. So I was working Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 6 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. So there was 2 days of my life that I couldn't manage. On top of that, I had to volunteer for school. So I remember going through so many things, and I asked him, when that conversation happened, I asked him, what do you admire about me? Do you actually just physically like me, or you admire the woman that I am? Do you admire the projects that I bring to you? I want you to actually give me the validation when we are in front of someone else, because I know that when we're talking about the project, because you develop the product, you might feel like this is your baby. Yes, it is your baby because you develop. I gave you this idea for you to feel successful, and I am giving you all the tools to succeed in every single way. But I want you to always remember that I'm right next to you. I don't want to be on top of you. I want to be right next to you. So when someone is trying to talk down to me, I want you to put that alert and be aware. So from then on, we did a lot of different things. And I said, think about it. If you want me to work with you and do different things, I'm going to be leading the conversations, whether I fail or not. We have to look like we are partners on this. There's no one is higher than. And that's kind of like our mentality. And since then, I felt more confident, but I still have that issue. When we go to those presentations, like recently we went to X hardware company, right? And it was a small women-owned business, very little of us there in that industry. And I remember 4 of the guys in the meeting and 1 girl, and they were like bombarding me back and forth, trying to turn down the idea, and so I started selling the product and what it was. And then like, oh, you actually really wowed me with your story. I wasn't trying to wow you. This is something that we really work hard. We invested every penny that we could in this, and we continue working. All the social media, it's run by me. I try to manage all of these sites. On top of that, I manage my home, my kids, and I forget myself to put everything that I have on this table. So I think the industry is still kind of like rough in how they're still taking women. So I appreciate the organization to give us this opportunity to have this talk, and validate those few men that are there to support us.
Now, can you share some advice for maybe the woman who is thinking about partnering with their spouse, or maybe is at the beginning stages of partnering with their spouse? Any advice when it comes to work-life balance on how to kind of keep things together but keep things separate and having boundaries around that? Any advice? Rebecca?
Oh, go ahead, Karen. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
Well, I learned a lot. I got baptized when I was 19, and I was part of a youth group, and I learned a lot about boundaries. We weren't allowed to go on dates without a chaperone, so that I kind of brought that to our relationship and to our business. And that's something that I kind of delegate to my husband, that I want that. Just because, there is temptation out in the world, and we have so much together that we need to protect it. We have the business together, we have our kids together, we have our home, we have so invested in so much in each other that we need to protect it, right? So I always, my advice is kind of talk about what are the boundaries that you want to set forth, and then look at that person and how their upbringing was, like how did their parents resolve issues, what is their childhood trauma. A lot of the relationship with your partner, especially in business, will kind of come up in that situation. If there's unresolved issues from their parents and then they bring it into their lives, it's going to come up. It's going to come up one way or another. And then either they don't feel supportive, if they're going to start complaining about that, if they don't feel that they're cared for, it's going to come up with that. It is going to link into the business. And if, like me and my husband, we have this agreement where we're not going to talk bad about each other. If we're angry, if we have a disagreement, we're not going to let other people know about it. We're not going to talk bad about each other. We're not going to, if we don't agree with a a choice that we made, we're not gonna say no, or we're not gonna make the other person or the employee do otherwise if me and my husband said something. Before you start with a business, before you form a business, sit down and talk about every scenario possible. How to deal with the opposite sex, how to deal when you're in public, in meetings, what direction you want to have the business be taken. Have a vision that both of you guys share. And then this is one of the most important ones that I think is that the financials. Do not hide anything from each other. Do not hide any issues that come up with money that can break the relationship in the business and in the marriage as well.
Well, in my case, I think it came also smooth in my way. I went through difficulties of trust because of my past relationships and issues. I can tell you in my case is completely different. The personal issues that I deal with as I grew up, through lessons in life and the closure to my faith and my beliefs have changed me and gave me a different guidance. And Claudio he's very humble and accepted, but he doesn't follow my beliefs, but he's very understandable in my way. So in my case, it's completely different. The advice that I can give to someone, having a business is a second marriage, and it's all about trust. I want to give, and this is my relationship with my husband. I want you to feel that you are still free. You can go out, you can have fun. My mentality, I don't put any negativity on myself, my relationship on him. I would say 80% trust in him. And the other 20, I focus on myself. I don't doubt him in any way. I don't even consider doubt of any other opposite sex, to come across. That's not even in my thoughts. He has gone to business trips on his own. I have gone to business trips on my own. We travel. We have our nights out on our own with boys and with girls. And there's always that partnership, that companionship. We talk about everything, and we make fun of whatever we experience through that moment in business and how this person approached trying to seduce something. And we're very aware. But at the end, if you're gonna open up a business, make sure that your guts, your instincts are there. You feel and you trust this person. There's no secrets between you guys. That's our thing. And it has actually, I don't know, it's organic for us. I don't tell him what not to do or what he can do. And I think freedom, everyone has to be free on whatever they want. And it's all about continue being creative. The passion that we can give to someone else is the passion of enjoying that they can continue to be somebody amazing, and admire them. That's in my case. So I don't think there's a guidance, or what you can do or what you can't do, because in the way of this process, there's a lot of obstacles, for us as a business. It could be finances, it could be in the relationship. You can communicate, or you can deliver, or one pushes more towards one way or the other one is leading. So it's about having trust, in each other.
Yep, that's great advice. Now, before we wrap, Karen, why don't you share with us maybe your ideal customer? Who is the best fit client for your firm, and your website if somebody wants to get a hold of you?
Well, Spill Safe with a Z, ZPILLSAFE. You can find it in our website, www.phplasticos.com, www.phplasticoshoyos.com. Sorry, English and Spanish, it just gets all confused. So Spill Safe was created for the baby industry to transfer breast milk or water into a container. And throughout the process, it became a product that started being purchased by a range of 18 to 25. And then now our highest clienteles are between 35 and 55 retires. So it goes everywhere. It started, like I said, in the baby industry and ended up being in the kitchen to transfer anything from a soup to a coffee and to a different pitcher, from a pot into a jar, from a jar to you name it. And then based on that, we developed the second phase of a Spill Safe, and this is a Spill Safe close fit. And it's actually for the paint. You put it in the paint, you adapt it to it, you transfer the paint, and then you remove it. And the advantage of it is that when we do DIY projects at home, the mess that we leave in the cans, because we might probably need just a little, and then we put the Spill Safe, you remove it, there's no residuals in the can, and then you can, since this is silicone, it's flexible, you can take it, carry it with you, you can wash it, and continue with the next project, and you have it on. It's the same process for Spill Safe. So, like I said, it's easy. You just adapt it into a mug, a pitcher, a pot, you adapt it, and you transfer liquids. So that's where we at. So you can find us in our website, www.phplasticoshoyos.com. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on our Shopify. We're working into being Lowe's.com, and we recently applied, hopefully, to be in Home Depot and maybe some other hardwares.
Great. Now, Rebecca?
Well, our website is www.bajareadymix.com, BAJAREADY.com. We manufacture and deliver ready-mix concrete, ground mix, and specialized concrete, residential, commercial, and industrial. And our ideal customer is contractors, resident, and whoever wants concrete.
Good stuff. Well, thank you both so much for sharing your story. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Truly appreciate it.
Pamela, any last words?
Sure. So thank you, ladies, again for participating with us today. Lee, as you know, this is our last episode of Women Who Lead with Male Partners, and there have been some consistent themes throughout this broadcast that we've just finished up on. And for those of you who are listening who are thinking about starting a business with a male partner, here's a few tips from the 4 episodes. One is you want to make sure that you have some clear communication with your partner. 2, develop a strategy that you walk through that looks at all of the potential issues. So almost like doing a SWOT analysis on your partnership. And 3, make sure you always have clear communications and set clear boundaries. So those are the tips that I walked away from the 4 episodes. And I want to thank our 2 guests for closing out this series. And I hope that people enjoyed the show.
Yep.
Sorry. Can I add one more tip to this? I know we're closing up. It's by Jordan Peterson. He one of the tips that he says is to talk at least 90 minutes with your partner on how to delegate the business and the family. At least 90 minutes a week.
I like that one. You are the first one who said that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that we covered a lot of important issues, and it's so delicate. The relationships by themselves are difficult, and then when you layer in a business that has its own challenges and the stressors and the chaos that's associated with that, it just increases the degree of difficulty. But I think that if you get it right, then the sky's the limit. You really can do amazing things, because if you have the right partner, you can really, create something that's bigger than both of you. So I think the impact is real that you're both having, and the accomplishments are amazing. And we thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right. This is Lee Kantor for Dr. Pamela Williamson. We will see you all next time on Women in Motion.